Formula One sponsorship liveries have been used since the late 1960s, replacing the previously used national colors during very early era of the sport. With sponsors becoming more important with the rising costs in Formula One, many teams wanted to be able to display the logos of their sponsors as clearly as possible. As a result, through the year we have seen some livery which always stands out and became the history, like Marlboro McLaren, John Player Lotus, 7up Jordan, Canon Williams and Braun GP. So today we gonna take a look at best livery year by year from the last decade. As in the last decade we have seen some of the most significant changes in the sport as cars switched from naturally aspirated V8s to turbo hybrid V6, and also the shape and size have grown from 4.9 meters to almost 5.5 meters. Starting from 2011, the best livery that year would be goes to Lotus Renault team, hands down the best livery of the year. In this pan shot you could see the green glittering in the bright sun against those yellow rims and those Renault logo in yellow area over the fin. Also the sponsors has been pretty well sorted if you ask me. The livery looks clean and it was a visually appealing with that amazing screaming V8 which we sadly miss today. Moving ahead to 2012, the best livery would be the Renault Lotus as we saw rebirth of the original John Player special livery. During the start of the season the red on the rear wing was looking odd, but as the season moves ahead the design started to grow on almost every one and almost became iconic. Also don't get me wrong, but I like when teams try some odd colors on the rims rather than the normal silver or black rims. And speaking of the rims, the gold was contrasting amazingly well with all the sponsors' logo also in red. Now escalating to 2013, the year which was gonna written in the history of Formula One as it was the last time we witnessed the scream of the V8, and also exiting Formula One was the Indian Grand Prix, and also we saw our German legend Sebastian Vettel equaling with Alain Prost by earning his 4th World Championship title. This season was a very significant for me as it was the first time I have ever watched Formula One, and after that I have been fan of the sport. So this one will be a oddball for many of you, but the best livery of 2013 for me was Red Bull Infinity. Yeah, I know, most of the people hated the purple hue on the car and was fed up seeing the same livery every year. But when I first witnessed the car in Noida at the BIC for free practice it was looking gorgeous. When you look back at the pictures from Indian GP you would realize the importance of this livery in the heart of every Indian, and since that moment many of the Indian have escalated into motorsports. Next up was the 2014 season. We saw birth of the new turbo hybrid era of car, and with that no one had ever thought that Mercedes would win every constructors championship and will dominate the sport. We also saw again a revival of the old livery in the form of Williams Martini. It was rebirth of the iconic livery, and the best part of the livery was the strips flowing through very bottom of the wing towards the end of the car just in between the wings. Many people thought it was way too plain, but again it was an amazing looking car and the design suits the car very well. And the black wing and floor of the body being black also complemented it amazingly, though there could be some refinements that could be done, like the racing number on the side was too small. Next up was the 2015 season, again a season which was very close to my heart as the car which steals everyone's heart with the livery was none other than Force India. As the livery was unveiled we had witnessed many articles being published in the Indian newspapers, and seeing the car flying on start straight on the TV was crazy. Now you might ask me, why didn't I choose the Force India 2014 livery? Well, 2014 in itself was a pretty badass, but I knew there is room for more improvement, and that white, saffron, green and black combo was little too much. But with the 2015 livery they made it the perfect as the switch from white to silver, and boy does that looks amazing. And also for me the best part of it was the 2-hole on the front of the wing and that subtle saffron and green line flowing over the shape of the car. Also the sponsor's placement was spot on, and even with all those different colors the sponsor's name were clearly visible. And overall the floor of the livery was spot on. Next up was 2016 season. I would say, probably the most heated season for Mercedes, as the rivalry of Rosberg and Hamilton was on peak and often overheated. But let's not focus on that. So for me, the best livery during the season was the Red Bull's matte paint scheme. Many people didn't like that one due to the odd placement of Red Bull written on the side of the car, and some say it was too basic and bland. But if you ask me, it was looking amazing and was clearly looking like a bull is gonna attack on you at full speed. Also from the front view, due to Red Bull written on the rear wing and also on the front, it looked aggressive and was very mean looking. Next up will be the 2017 season. We saw the exit of last year's champion Rosberg from the sport, as he told, he has achieved what he had dreamed throughout his career in motorsport. And in 2017, out of nowhere, Red Bull's sister team Torro Rosso came up with an amazing livery consisting of blue, red and hand-painted chrome or silver bulls over the roof scope of the car, and it stunned everyone during the race as it stand out on the grid on every race and looks amazing from almost every angle. Also, the shark fin of the car along the wing looked amazing and gave a very different appearance to the car. And the logo placements were also nicely done compared to others. And also the red thick stripe running along the side of the car looking like it is being sucked by the air intake down. And then following over the side of the car gave it an amazing appearance. Now escalating into the 2018 season, many people will call the 2017 Renault as the best livery. But for me, the 2018 livery shines the most in terms of modern Renault livery, as the yellow complements the black superbly. I think in 2017 it was way too yellow, which they fixed with 2018 livery, and the yellow flows through the car very nicely with complementing yellow border along the fin and on the lower end of the car just before the flow. And talking about the sponsor's logo, they were also very well sorted out and were looking like they were part of it rather than just putting them randomly. Also, the black Renault font over the yellow block of wing ties in with the design very nicely. Now moving along to the 2019 season, the last time we witnessed the crowd anywhere in the world before some virus thought to ruin our life in 2020. Anyway, moving toward our topic, in 2019 the best livery was the Mclaren livery. That orange and blue livery looks amazing to look at any angle, at any time and at anywhere. The sponsor's logo were nicely placed and the livery flows through the design very well. Also, they introduced their new driver Lando Norris, and surprisingly they were able to grab 4th overall position in the Constructors' Championship. The logo of Dell Technologies and Husky Chocolate were nicely integrated on the rear wing. And that halo also complemented the whole look of the car very well. In my opinion, the side profile of the car was the best part, as it was not crowded and when the sun hits the paint it shines very nicely. Last but not the least is 2020 season, and I want to say something before we move towards the best livery. This season in particular has been the toughest for every drivers, the teams, FIA, for the sport and also for the fans. We have seen everything from Sergio, Lance, Lando and Hamilton testing positive for COVID to Nico's car catching on fire, and at last probably the most horrific crash ever witnessed by anyone in the sport, in which Grosjean walks away miraculously without any major injury. So moving towards the livery, many people have chosen Alpha Tauri as the best livery of 2020, but for me it was the Mercedes Petronas black livery which stands out the most. I never thought I would like Mercedes livery post-Vodafone era, but with all the world situation like COVID, then the Black Lives Matter protest and eventually the We Race as one theme kept in mind, Mercedes out of nowhere came and showed the world their all-new Black Arrow livery. And oh my god, it looks amazing. Also, that turquoise does looks good with that all-black paint scheme, and while the Mercedes 3-pointed star completes the livery amazingly, which is drawn over the rear shell of the car. The design of their car is just outstanding. Now coming on the best design of the decade. Throughout the decade we have seen multiple liveries starting from gloss to matte, from solid plain Martini to solid end racism Mercedes. But the livery that steals the heart of everyone will be hands down the VJM8 Force India 2015 car. The paint scheme of silver, black and Indian tricolour looks gorgeous alongside all the sponsors' logo and name. But choosing this wasn't easy, as even the Torro Rosso and 2011 Lotus T128 were also very competitive in terms of design. So that's it from my side. Hope you guys like this video and mention in the comments which was the best livery of the decade for you guys, and also consider subscribing to our channel for more content, and please share the video with your friends and family.